It's my goal in the Privilege Project to ask, what can we do? And to actually act on it and to try to make the world better. I think people don't want to talk about it because it brings up uncomfortable feelings and it brings up anger, and all of that is justified. But those uncomfortable feelings and that guilt or that anger keep us from talking and listening to one another, and we put walls up. So we're hoping that the whole Enloe community will join us, try to take the walls down and have really good conversation on a sometimes really hard topic.
Step forward if you live in a non-violent neighborhood.
Whenever people say they don't see race, they're kind of just saying that they don't see all the bad things or all those good things in you. But I think that it's not helpful to say things like that, because people should be able to be proud of who they are and proud of their race or proud of their gender, proud of whoever they are, whatever that it is. And then we can address these stereotypes instead of saying, oh, you're not a black person, you're not mean. You can't say that because I am black. I might not be mean. Not every black person is mean. You have to be able to accept the person and accept that not every person of a race or a gender or from a certain place is the same. And once we learn to accept those things, then we can make a difference.
My definition of privilege is any advantage that one group has over another. And with privilege, especially at the start of this project, and from what I've learned from other people, a lot of people think privilege is just based on race, but I've learned that privilege is based on race, religion, age, gender, sexual orientation, where someone grew up, how much money they make, their family, all kinds of different things affect privilege.
I would define privilege as an opportunity based on something you didn't really decide for yourself, like an opportunity based on part of your identity.
So my definition of privilege, I would say, is a package that you receive that you don't get to choose what's inside the package. You just get to either accept it or you can maybe find a way to change it. I think privilege is something that everyone deserves. Everyone does deserve a privilege, but don't always get the privileges that they want.
Step forward if you like the way your race is portrayed in the media. Step forward if you like the way your sex is portrayed in the media. Step forward if you like the way your religion is portrayed in the media. Step forward if you like the way your age is portrayed in the media.
Even then, a lot of people try to denote the fact that if you're black, and the whole Black Lives Matter, that if you're the ratchet black, then you're not a respectable black, so you don't count in that group, your lives don't matter. But what I believe is that all black lives matter. All lives matter, okay, yes they do. But when it comes down to it, that we are truly under target right now, and our black people are being shot down. And me personally, I'm gonna stand for all black people. You can be the ratchet black, you can be a dropout, you can have no job, you can be something like that, and I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna shade you, I'm not gonna have any opinion, because at the end of the day, you're black, we're black.
It's also a tragedy for Muslim people. These were Muslim militants who came in and they hijacked the planes, and they did that. But they're not a part, they don't represent Muslims as a whole, and people neglect to see that. They keep, whenever something like that happens, they scrutinize Muslims so much to the point where they were being shot and they were being beaten down. And my mother, who's Muslim, she had to take off her headscarf at the fear of someone shooting her or making them a victim of their hate crime. And she had to wear a hat because we neglect to see how it affects other people too.
A lot of people don't know the actual struggle that African Americans and Hispanics go through. I've experienced stereotypes, and those stereotypes are that just say I'm walking through a grocery store. Oftentimes see people who actually work in the grocery store follow me around as if I'm trying to steal something, or, just trying to create havoc, and that isn't the way I am.
We think that being in America is a privilege, but there's also some downsides to every day, like how we live. And there's some things that people don't even teach you, but there's stuff that you automatically do. Like if you see a guy and you're walking alone, you get on the phone and you're like trying to make it seem like you're not physically alone. It's just that normally comes with girls.
The sort of things that we would be worried walking home at night to our car that somebody might assault us. That's not okay. Things like that, things like expectations people have of women. Like if you're assertive and have a lot of gravitas as a woman, that's not something people see as yeah, exactly. That's not something people recognize across genders and across the spectrum of people.
Tell me your name.
My name is Caitlin,
Hi, Caitlin.
and in our group, we talked a lot about gender identity, and I talked about my gender identity, which is non-binary, and most people don't know what that is. It means that I do not identify as male or female, and we talked about how we aren't really how non-binary people, we don't have a voice in the media or in literature or anywhere. Even though we've been here for thousands of years, all across the world, we've kind of been wiped out.
We did something called a privilege walk, which was a really enlightening experience, where we all lined up in the back of the room and had someone, the teacher, call out, "Step forward if you have this privilege, so and so," and some people would step forward and others would not, obviously, and being able to confront that difference in privilege within our own class was really kind of an emotional experience.
It was really crazy to see how we're so similar. We're all around the same age, we all go to the same school, we all enjoy dancing, but we're so different in terms of privilege.
Even though it was such a hard experience to go through, after the privilege walk, we were also much more unified.
1. I now have the privilege to speak to you. I now have the privilege to speak for you, to whittle your story into the throne I will sit on, to shave your bones into stardust and let you rise back to a heaven that never called your name. I have the privilege to carry a tongue so fat and heavy it has always had 3 full meals. Eats arrogance for breakfast, apathy for lunch, ignorance for dinner, and pride to top it off. 2. You and I are 2 tops set on a table to spin. You are near the center, and I am at the edge. It is no wonder I plunge to my death. You see, there are games from children's toys, and children who we make into games play Russian roulette with their future. Tell them they should have known better than to be born under the winter of our palms. 3. We are left in a world that grows colder the farther we get from one another. Our children are asking if they can light a fire in the spaces between our fingers, the spot where we used to pull each other up. We tell them to keep their hands to themselves, as if our anguish was a museum display and the sign said, "Please do not touch the artwork." Or maybe it said, "Please do not change the way of the world. It is simpler this way." We will watch the clouds shiver away from the sky and catch snowflakes that are not the same, yet tell ourselves we feel the same pain. 4. You see, we do not. We have tongues forged from ice statues that can make it easy to be cold. We are in different realities. We put our children in rooms and tell them opportunity knocks. We put our children in rooms and forget to say that the door is locked. We tell them the key is within themselves, but the lock is on the outside. Expect them to break down a door that they were never designed for. It is true that there is merit in ambition. There is value in hard work. But why scale what was never made to be climbed? Why aim to the stars when you can't make it past the glass ceiling? Our structure is dilapidated. Our foundation is worn out, and our children can feel the chill through the wind-worn shutters on rusty hinges. Let me tell you, a winter is coming.